The $1,000,000 question, when can I go climbing again after I have my baby? While we don't have any research or guidelines that directly tells us a specific time, there are a few factors that I believe are extremely important to keep in mind that can help to guide us with information about our own body on when it might be a good idea to return to climbing and when it might be a good idea to hold off just a little bit longer. I am going to break down 3 key components that you should keep in mind before you return to climbing postpartum. When we are thinking about returning to climbing postpartum, and I just mean returning to climbing as in getting on the wall, period. One of the first things that we want to make sure we have begun to practice is connecting again with our breath. By connecting with the breath, I mean we need to make sure that we are feeling the ability of the ribs to move in all directions, front, back, and side. We want to make sure that we have connected again with the feeling of our pelvic floor being able to relax and lift. We also want to make sure that we have connected again with the ability to engage and generate tension from the bottom up with our transverse abdominis or deep core muscles. These 3 factors do not have to be perfect before we return to climbing. In fact, a lot of us still need work on these and we are climbing really hard, but they do need to be started. You should have a practice in place that incorporates all 3 of these areas to make sure that we are adequately giving the systems in our body stimulus that it needs to be able to handle pressure well when we are on the wall. The next suggestion I have when we are looking at returning to climbing postpartum is, what do activities of daily living feel like? This means going to the grocery store, doing a load of laundry, feeding your baby. Are you having pain with these activities? Are you able to go for a short walk around your block without shuffling or feeling like it takes a lot out of you? When you're feeling like you generally can do the activities in your daily life without too much effort, even though you feel really frazzled after having a baby and having a newborn, when we can do these activities without pain and without compromised movements, then that's a sign that our body might be ready for a little bit more, such as easy roots or problem at the wall. The last suggestion I have to really check in with yourself about before you return to climbing is, what is going on with your pelvic floor? I don't mean that you have to go to a pelvic floor physical therapist before you go climbing again. I highly suggest you see a pelvic floor physical therapist as part of your postpartum recovery. But do you have acute pelvic floor symptoms that are causing you pain or a lot of discomfort every day? Are you still having issues with peeing? Are you still having pain with pooping? Are you having extreme feelings of heaviness? Are you having a lot of pain in your pelvis when we are doing activities of daily living like I spoke through before? If you are still having acute pelvic floor symptoms, I would check in with a pelvic floor physical therapist before returning to climbing. We want to make sure that we are not giving our body a demand that it cannot handle, especially after childbirth. Our bodies are extremely resilient, but we sometimes need to give them just a little bit more TLC, and it is best to wait a bit longer before we place higher demands on them if we are still experiencing acute pelvic floor symptoms after birth. Climbing is a really unique sport, and it is a beautiful sport. It does not have quite the same high repetitive impact as running does, yet it requires quite a bit more strength, I would argue, than running does. So we're able to take some running guidelines and extrapolate them for use in climbing. I have done my best to synthesize this information for you in a way that should feel very digestible and help you to make some decisions around your own body on when it would be appropriate for you to go climbing again after you've had a baby. Please remember that your timeline and your journey is unique to you. Just because someone else went climbing sooner or later does not mean that you have to go that soon or you have to wait that long. I really hope that you found this helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions, and that's it for now.